Okay, so we're going to get started. So in this jam session, Angela and Tim Taylor stop by.
Yes.
That's the formal introduction you missed the other time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think I got 2 weeks off of this.
Yeah,
and,
I was kind of running the show.
Yeah, and it just so happens like
Right.
the 1 week that she co-hosted or hosted it like had the most views. So I don't know if that tells me something about the way I'm doing it or what.
Works. But I was just telling them earlier, this is the first show that we've ever co-hosted a couple together, or actually even co-hosted and had a guest together. And so it's kind of like a date.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Well,
a double
kind of
date.
why
That's
we
wine?
we did this as
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
right, kind of why we did this as a coupled show. Right.
Let's just go with mimosas.
Yeah, it is early. If I have wine now, I'm going to be tired.
Yes.
Yeah, mimosas at least keep me up. But I'm excited to have you guys.
Yeah.
Excited to
We
be here.
are
for
excited to
having
have you guys. I got to get used to that. We are excited to have you
Yeah.
guys on the show.
Yes.
Our special edition, coupled.
Yes.
59, by the way.
59.
59.
This is the 59th episode of the Bob Mortgage Jam Session. So you can edit that in.
And
That's
the
good.
first episode of the Taylor's Life,
That's right.
Oh.
But not the last.
but not the last.
So this is the first episode.
Unless you guys hate it, and then no more ever again.
So guys, so we got a lot of cameras rolling here, and a lot of people know you on this side.
yeah,
Not a lot of people know you on this side.
Sure.
Possibly, right? For those few that don't,
this camera.
give them like the right.
There's a lot of cameras.
We have
you don't
good
see.
angles. We have
Yeah.
all good angles.
I hope so, because this is like.
Right.
Give them the 30,000 foot view, just the macro perspective of you guys, your real estate group, and just who you are really quick. Just the 30,000 foot view, and we'll dive into some specifics.
Well, we're still fairly new,
Which
less
is crazy.
Than, yeah,
By the way.
less than 5 years in business. Actually, just a couple of years. I was Rookie of the Year my first year.
Mm-hmm.
Did right around 11 million in sales, and this year we're already at 12 million. Well, on tomorrow and the next day will be 12 million closed.
Yep.
Have others under contract, but we kind of started small, just myself, and it became very overwhelming because I was doing a ton of business. Always calling my husband saying, hey, can you come home from work early today because I've got to go do showings and I need someone here with the kids. I did not want them at a daycare or with a babysitter all the time. But the more and more that started happening, he was like, okay. And then the more and more the business was taking off, it was like, you don't have to be at work. Why don't you come home and do this? So he decided to get his license as well. Because
So it
if you're
organically evolved.
yeah, well, and I think a lot of realtors will probably relate to this, that when you're, especially as a single agent, that's your life. I mean, you're in it 24/7, unfortunately. I'm learning to shift that piece right now, which is the next part of our story. But, it's kind of all encompassing and it takes over everything. So to have him there was just kind of a natural progression, I think, because he was already involved.
Right.
When it was just me, he was already doing all the finances and all of that stuff anyways. He was there with the kids. He was starting to help around the house and do things, that was falling off my plate.
Uh-huh.
Now we're both in it, and he is like I've had this joke with people like several times recently. We're like a mullet, okay?
So are we, yeah.
So he is the...
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
He
it.
is the business in the front, and I am
Yeah.
the party in the back.
Yeah.
And very social, outgoing. I am very people focused and relationship oriented and creative. And he is very anal. And I'm surprised he didn't come in and straighten your magazine.
I know, sorry,
and
I
clean
was
your
driving
desk.
you crazy.
Like, your desk is like how I live, and he comes in and he will straighten my desk, and I'm going, where is the paper that I just had? That's him, and he was a rock star in the corporate management for years, and
It's perfect.
yeah, and he's all numbers, and he's data, and he's systems and processes, and I am not. And so, honestly, I never had a CRM. And I just did all, worked with my clients, and I worried about just relationships.
Just executed.
Boom, boom, boom. Just do it. Well, then you get to a point where it's like, you get to a certain number of clients, and you can remember what their closing date was. So you can say happy houseversary, or, the small
Sure,
things.
yeah.
But then you get to a certain number, and you're going, wait, I've lost track, and there's no way to keep up with them if you're not building the system. So he comes in, he's kind of taking my business from this
Yeah.
to this is what we need to do. So now, and
Building
then
it for
you
the
have
future.
to,
Like you can only do it
Exactly.
that way for so long.
Right.
Exactly.
You,
And
you
so
reach a
now-
level of critical mass that you explode, right? 'Cause-
Right, absolutely. And so now the next phase is we're working with a coach at the moment, getting ready to kind of grow a team so that long term we can sustain this and this kind of productivity without the 24/7, like I was
Yeah.
saying before, because my phone is always on my hip. I'm always in the middle of some deal, or it can be 9 o'clock at night and we're trying to watch a TV show finally because our day is done. We're in bed and I'm like, oh, hold it, pause it. I'm over here on the phone.
The good news about that is
Yeah.
because you do work together, he understands the pause.
Right.
And it's like, like Bob and I are, our phones ring at 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night. And
Sure.
we're trying to have a date night. And I'm like, buddy, you better answer that because, I probably made the phone ring. So it's kind of like,
Right.
I get
Well,
it.
I mean, I guess he gets it. We want our kids to not feel like they're coming second. They're
Yes.
super important. That was the whole reason that I got into real estate, was wanting to spend more time with them. So we love real estate. I absolutely love houses. I love working
Yeah.
with people. It is an exciting job. It is so fun to not know who your next client is and to not know. I mean, we become really good friends with our clients. We go to dinner with some of them. We have these long relationships, and I don't know who I'm going to work with next month. And that's kind of exciting for a
Yeah.
personality like
Oh
mine.
my
I want
gosh.
something different all the time, and it's
Yeah.
like I can't wait to see who we're going to meet.
Now, how are you getting your clients?
Okay, guys, we went from macro to micro really quick. I hope you enjoyed the jam session. We're done.
But here's the thing: there are 2 women in the room, and so
That's
if
right.
you guys know,
Good luck.
women.
Hey, it's good to know you.
Yeah.
good
We
to know
get stuff
you.
done, man.
Yeah, exactly. You need some coffee?
Women are spaghetti, men are waffles, right?
Yeah.
You guys have compartments, and you were in your compartment, and we were
Yeah.
over here, like
Yeah.
weaving it all together. There's a thread, right?
Wow.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
I bet the women over here are following us.
Yes.
Yes.
The men are like, gosh, would you just stay on topic? She was
So-
talking about dogs.
Yeah, I did start out of dogs and cats and
Well, I just find that you guys are so interesting. And so the way that you've evolved in such a short amount of time,
Yeah.
I guess maybe I've got too many questions. So
well, no, there's definitely similarities. I mean, hell, we just throw this up and see what lands. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with topics, but I mean, it's a lot of things. You said business in the front, party in the back. We're party in the front, business in the back, right?
Definitely.
I know what's sexy in this relationship. It's party in the front, her,
Yeah.
and then I'll come back behind it and just make sure it's all buttoned up and I's dotted, T's
that
crossed.
Jen's compliant.
Right,
That kind of
exactly.
stuff.
Oh yeah, we can. I'm like, no,
I'm
we
the
can't.
yes man. Oh yeah, we got
Yeah.
that loan. We can
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Give
it's-
Bob a call.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cell
I
phone.
am the optimist, and he's more the realist. We'll just
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
I won't put it as a pessimist. We'll just say realist, and I'm more of like the.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. No, I mean, it's not pessimist at all. It is very real. I mean, sometimes those conversations have to be real, not the way you want it, but here's how it happens. I get that a lot in what we do is we deal in hope,
Yeah.
right? People,
Right.
I never want to squash that. I mean, there's a yes door, a maybe door, and a no door, right? To whether you can have mortgage credit availability to you, provided to you,
Sure.
right? Whether you get a loan. I never want to provide the no door. It's either yes or maybe, and that maybe is if you do these things
Right.
to walk down the path to get you where you need to get to.
Sure.
That no, pessimistic side, can't happen. Because I mean, then hope, dreams, all that stuff just goes away, and that is not a good place at all. So
Yeah.
yes and maybe. Yes and maybe.
Ours is like we'll wait
Works
a
in
little bit
marriage,
longer.
What works,
No, it's always yes or maybe.
What
It's a
works
yes.
in marriage is yes, dear.
Yes.
Right, yes, dear. So, always one of the top teams, right? So, the big brokerage. JPAR's a big brokerage. What, 1,300 agents now?
Maybe more than
I don't know,
that.
I
JP.
mean,
if you're out there, you can tell us.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think at least
It
13
was
last I heard.
1,200 and it's continued to grow 13
Yeah.
plus, right? And you're always one of the top two,
Or
three
a small
teams,
team,
right?
so
Right,
yes,
yeah, but
one of
top
the
small
yeah,
teams.
Sure.
You hit what, 10 million? So I just heard 12. So I know September was your $10 million deal. You hit that, right?
September has been one of our biggest months we've had. We've had like 3.5 million, but we hit 10, 11, and 12 within a
All within 1
2-week,
month. Oh,
yeah,
wow, awesome.
Amazing.
period. So
Okay.
I think 9 closings this month.
That's amazing.
Dude,
So,
look at
yeah,
that.
that's-
That's awesome,
That is
man.
that is all
That is-
God. Like that is
Yeah.
not.
Well, yeah, of
that's a big
course.
piece of this when
course.
you're talking, about the business. That's
Yeah.
the biggest piece of this is. You said how does that happen? There is not an explanation for that except that we get up every day, thank God, keep working as hard as we can, make the relationships, and I don't know. It's just one of these where it's like I call it this, dumb luck, the huge blessing, and he says it's not. He says
No.
there's more strategic stuff we've done, which I agree, but I know you don't get into the business, have 2 years in and you're looking at 25 million in volume.
That's
like
right.
that's God. And so
right.
You invite
That's
him
our
into your business.
we don't invite him in. He is there and he invites us in. Like he brings us into these relationships. And there's a
great outlook.
reason that we work with each one of these clients. And I believe more than, I've read some of the things you were asking about technology and how do we help our clients. Well, that's one of the biggest pieces. We're praying for their houses. We're praying for them. There've been so many clients that, and before I was in real estate, I was in ministry for 15 years. So that's the relationship. That's why I'm focused that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like for me, it's always caring more about that person and the relationship than it is,
You
I
care
want to
about the
get the
people,
house
the
sold.
business will come.
Sure,
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, I never really knew my numbers and what transaction I was on or what my total volume was. He has numbers. He knows all of that. So he's starting to help me because I've been told by my coach that that's important to know those things.
Well, okay, but here's what I'll
I'm-
say with that coach, and Jennifer, I don't necessarily care if Jennifer knows the numbers.
Yeah.
I need her to do what she does exceptionally well, which is something I don't do exceptionally well. Right? We stay in our lanes.
Yeah.
I'll know the numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can tell you everything about the numbers. That may cloud her perspective of what's happening or what's going on and what she needs to be focused on. Just go be you.
Yeah.
You be you. Everything else will take care of itself.
Well, and on our side, it is very nice to not be thinking about the commission in the back of your head because the agents that are thinking about the commission, I think that's what comes across. It's like the
Yes.
used car salesman,
Right.
or if that's all they care about. We're
Right.
more focused on the end goal, which is what does this family need? They probably, they have this goal in mind. Where are we trying to get them? That's really what we focus on. And
Yeah.
he's trying to help me to become more profitable because, I always focus on the relationship. I'm like, how can I help you?
Well, you take on more of an advisor role, it sounds like,
There's so much counseling. I mean,
yes,
there's
you're
it's
emotionally
a
involved with them.
stressful time, I think, for a lot of people, especially if they're buying and selling at the same time. So it's walking them through each step and saying, hey, this is normal. Everybody
Right.
goes through this part. Let's get through it together. You're okay. You can make it through this. Don't
Right.
worry. I've got you. And just really being there to kind of, it's like a counselor hat of,
Yeah.
or if they're on the floor crying and saying, we can't do it. Yes, you can. You can do it.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Yeah, that's amazing. And so do many of your clients come from your church or neighbors or?
no, actually,
A lot of neighbors.
Hey, church, where are you?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The church as a whole, all of God's children. No, our specific church, we are very mindful. I don't try and push
Right.
that at my church. That's our.
Yep.
We are at our church all the time. In fact, Wednesdays are big church day for us.
And you teach
Yeah.
children's.
Well, now that my daughter, when she graduated into middle school, I signed up for the middle school program. So now we do 7th grade girls youth group every Wednesday night. We lead a small group. We've got like 30 girls that are super sweet. That is so rewarding to see the difference in their
Absolutely.
lives. But yeah, so Wednesday mornings at Women's Bible Study, which is where I'm going right after this, and then Wednesday nights at church. So, but I never use that. That would feel just wrong, I think. I don't know.
Right.
I don't want to go in and be like, hey, you want to buy a house? I don't know.
Right. Well, yeah.
God
Okay.
brings us enough business, and I mean, not that we wouldn't take more, we would. So if you're out there and you know somebody that wants to buy a house,
Exactly.
972-439-0301. I'm joking, but I'm serious.
Yeah,
really.
right. Sorry, not sorry. We
Sorry,
wouldn't
not
turn
sorry.
you away.
That was the little plug. Sorry.
So where are you drawing your
I love it.
inspiration from to do everything that you guys are doing? Where does this inspiration come from?
Oh, well, I mean, that one is an obvious for me. Do you want to? By the way, I said I was all party and all business. I'm also an extrovert, introvert. He sits back and he doesn't talk much, but
A lot of listening,
wanna-
yeah.
you want to, I mean,
Just you got to force yourself in. I'm doing that. I'm just forcing myself into this conversation. You know,
we're the fun part.
That's
I'm
right.
Just saying.
That's right.
I'm just saying. I think inspiration, obviously, God is the biggest piece of that. But
Right.
if we're, business-wise, I mean, that is our biggest goal. We help a lot of people, and I guess I shouldn't say we. God uses us, I feel like, as a conduit. So He blesses our business, and we're able to help others. And I feel like that's been a huge inspiration for us. That's like so exciting to be able to give above and beyond what we've ever been able to do. And then for sure, our kids, to be able to take them, not too many years ago, we were like living paycheck to paycheck
Right.
on ministry salary and could barely make ends meet, and we didn't get to take them anywhere. So now we have passports, we're going to take them traveling. That's an inspiration for us. And then honestly, if I'm just being real, I am a goal crusher. I'm a goal digger. That is my thing. I really, really enjoy, I don't know why, it's just a personality thing. If I have a goal here, I have to hit it. I just, it's like I'm driven, I've got to hit that, and I love being able to say, like, we did it, you know?
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, you-
How do you go from ministry to selling real estate? What was that aha moment?
it's a great
that
question.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I'm gonna throw it out there.
Every
that
now and then,
transitioned
you know,
you
he's got
to
one.
that role.
We were, we flipped houses for a short period of time when we lived, I'm from Plano, he's from Cape Cod,
Okay.
and we met in college, and then we moved to Maine for 9 years with, you know, his family.
Okay.
And while we were up there, some of the first things we did was to flip some houses. I have always had a passion for houses, whether it's decorating them, shopping for them, it doesn't matter. I love that piece. And we enjoyed that aspect. When we moved back here, you know, I've been in full-time ministry for all these years. And what really made the transition happen was the amount of time I was spending away from my family. When you are in ministry, especially I worked for a very large church, one of the biggest in the nation, but definitely one of the biggest in this area.
Okay.
And I was working 24/7, which everyone's going to say, yeah, but in real estate you do too. For me, when I got off of work at night, I was having to pick the kids up from daycare, and we took them to school at 7-something in the morning.
Right.
So, and then when we get up, mommy and daddy are rushing to get ready because we've got to go to work. So we're not with them making breakfast or helping with anything. It's like everybody's doing their own thing. We all get in the car and it's crazy. And then off they go to school, off we go to work. And then by the time we pick them up, I've got to make dinner. If he was running late, getting home,
Yeah.
dinner's late, and then they've got to go to bed. And it's like, I got to a point in my life where I was on the highway one day, and I think the person in front of me stopped very quickly, and I stopped, and it, you know, when you have that heart, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're just like, what happened? And then it kind of was in my head, if I was to die right now, I don't want this to be the legacy for my kids, for them to think, you know, we didn't get to see mommy. And I think I wanted that back. I wanted to be with them. I wanted to have the say of this is my schedule. You know, on Sundays when I was at church all day, they were at home because we went to Saturday night church. So they were there all weekend, and it wasn't working for our family. So
Having quality time.
yeah, and we didn't set out. I mean, please hear me. My goal was not, I want to get in this and dominate.
Yeah.
In fact, we said, I want to get in this, and if I sell 6 houses this year, then I will make my salary that I made at the church, and everything will be great, and I can be a stay-at-home mom with my kids and be a homeroom mom because that's what I wanted. And God just did exceedingly more than we could have ever expected, and it just took off, and it was all over the place.
Wow.
So now we have to find a way to get back to our original goal, which was family time, which we do. Tim has gotten, since he's been home, he's gotten to pick John up from school every day. Katie rides the
Wow.
bus because she's
Can't
in
beat that.
middle school, but I'm homeroom mom, and he has come to all of the parties this year, or the past year. He was
Right.
there, like, right alongside with me. In fact, he made it in the yearbook for the school. He was in my son's yearbook. I was not, but he
The
was.
introvert did.
Yeah, he was like in the background in a picture because he was
Photobomb.
there. But it was
The only
an
dad?
awesome.
Were you the only dad?
Well,
There are
maybe a
other
few,
dads, but
yeah.
it was awesome because it showed that he was there,
Yeah.
and that's what's been cool is we office from our home, which is really big for us because when the kids get home, they may be in their room or doing whatever, but they know we're there.
Right.
With him being home as well, if I'm out showing or whatever I'm doing, one of us is there. So we are spending more family time. We are taking vacations that we never got to take before, but now we just have to figure out how do we shut the phone off after dinner, you know, and have just family time that's sacred. That because I'm used to telling my clients, you can reach me whenever you want.
That's right. We're the same.
And that's not okay anymore.
Yeah.
So we've got to set those boundaries. So those are some of the things we're working
Yeah.
on is learning boundaries and saying, I want to be the best realtor I can be, and I can do that efficiently if I put these systems and processes in place
Right.
and do this at these hours, and then I can have a real life and be with my family,
Right.
but still be an
Well,
awesome realtor.
We talk about work-life balance, and I don't
Sure.
believe in work-life balance. It's more about work-life harmony.
Yeah.
Every day is different.
Because you can't be, I don't feel as if in our worlds, you can't be on one side or the other side and try to do this. You're basically in both all the time.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of how do you set those boundaries. You know, for me, I'm always available. But I'm always available because I believe in time kills deals and speed wins. I may say, speed response. Angela, thanks so much for the text. I'm sitting down with my family for dinner. Can I get with you in 25 minutes or 35 minutes?
Or an hour.
Whatever it is, the quick response gives me my time back. Not that I'm gonna all of a sudden do it and then, miss the whole dinner, because that's not what I want to do. But I know that I got to give a quick response to gain my freedom back, for the family.
Absolutely.
And so it's stuff like that we've had to really work into our business because it can take over.
Absolutely.
When you are at the levels that you guys are growing at and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it does take over, because when you have a servant heart and you know that you're there to give more in value than what you get in return,
Yeah.
that means you're willing to give more of yourself
Yes.
all the time. And that giving is great, and that's why you've become so successful at what you're doing, because you give more. But then that people take, right? They
Right.
want more of you.
Well, and I think we're responsible for setting that boundary, because I have always told my clients I'm available for you 24/7
Yep.
because I thought that was the only way that it could work. But I've been recently retraining my mind. There is
Right.
no real estate emergency unless the house is on fire, in which
Right.
case call 911. But
Right.
if I'm spending, the 11 o'clock hour in bed trying to watch a show and I'm still answering texts, then I'm working all day long and at 6 o'clock, and I'm not really keeping our marriage
Right.
fresh. Or for my kids, if they are constantly seeing me, hold on a second, which
Yeah.
that is me. They're trying to talk and I'm going, wait, mommy's in the middle of a
Yeah.
text message. So there needs to be a balance, and I don't
Yeah.
want this thing to run us and run our lives, because
Right.
that wasn't a goal. The goal was, to come in, but to
There's
still
gonna be
offer
time-
the same level
Yeah.
of service. And
Sure.
so it's like you said, though, the immediate response. We saw this, we will get to you first thing in the morning, or whatever it
Maybe
is.
An
But
automatic reply.
And-
but
and-
setting
because
that
what-
expectation up front too,
It
when we sit
exists.
down and saying,
Yep.
hey, this is our family time, it's super important to us. I'm sure you understand my kids are little. We
And-
want
and
to
they
make sure we're
respect
there for
that
them.
sometimes even more so.
They
Yeah.
do. They respect and say
they'll
they
wait.
respect the setting of the expectation, the acknowledgement of receipt of something,
Sure,
and the
sure.
re-expectation of I'll get back to you at this time.
And then
they're
following
like,
through.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got to
Following
follow
through.
through. But they're like, oh my God, thanks so much. I wasn't expecting you to respond.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know you'll get back to me tomorrow morning or in 2 hours.
Right.
Right.
Well, and I know our clients really have been, they're amazing, and they're always the ones to say, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't call you at this hour. And I'm like, I work all the time,
Right.
but I don't want to.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't want to. I would
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
enjoy my life. So,
So for some of the realtors out there, hopefully this was, or loan officers that watch the show, hopefully this was helping you, because there's a lot of people, whether they're in this industry or another industry, there's a lot of the same struggles that we all.
People don't have boundaries.
Yeah, there's no, or they don't know how to set the boundary, and they don't understand that people actually respect people setting the boundary.
sure.
I mean that's a I think a big thing to that is people do respect that. So there's
you-
yeah,
it's your show.
this is
Oh,
couple.
here we
This
go.
is couple.
Spaghetti and waffle.
Okay,
Spaghetti
go
and
ahead,
waffle.
babe. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So
I
Bob was
didn't-
wanting to ask the real estate questions, and I'm obviously going to go more personal. So you said keeping the marriage fresh. So out of curiosity, so obviously, when you work together and you're married, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So do you, when y'all are on a date night or y'all have time together, do you say, okay, we're not going to talk about work? Or like Bob and I, we continue to talk about work because we think it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always a topic of discussion, because we're obviously constantly evolving what our business looks like, what do we see in the future, things like that. So it's always at the front, and really when you're off by yourselves, date night, it's a great time to talk about it, because
Yeah.
you don't have the kids running through the office.
Right. Well, and I think what he's saying, when we're talking like that, it's not as much like, what do we do about this deal? It's often more of the dreaming.
Dreaming.
It's
What
exactly
do we
what
want
we
to
do.
hit?
Yep.
How
Yeah.
are we going to achieve that? And those kind of
I
things.
get so frustrated if we're on a date night and we get into something individual, like a topic, like a loan or a relationship. I don't want to do that. I want to talk.
I can't go there anyway. So.
Like, is Sally going to get gift funds or not? Did you get the note?
Right, yeah.
I mean, like,
I'm talking 30, 40, 50,000 foot view type stuff.
Sure.
I want to go
Sure,
big
it's
in
fun,
these
it's fun.
conversations because it is fun, and that's what keeps us, because, you know, we're in a different season of our life with even our kids because they are older,
yeah.
right? And they take more time for themselves than they need with us, right? And so we have more time, like, hey, it's date night, date afternoon, date day. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like all of a sudden everything's becoming a date
We have
opportunity.
a lot of time together now.
And it's
you know?
fun because we do get to spend more time talking at that level because of just kind of how that is with the kids. And then we're like, okay, hey, we have this 1 hour opportunity. Let's just really go deep with the kids. And then
Yeah.
we're out again because they're off to volleyball or
their own
homework.
thing.
And yeah, it's getting pretty deep with them. So, you know, we kind of spend that high level time.
Mm-hmm.
I start to check out if we start getting into like individual. I'm like, oh my
And
God,
not
I
that
deal
I
with it
can
all
go there
day.
anyway.
What is the interest rate currently?
Yeah.
Oh, no, she-
Bob
no.
already said yes to the realtor. You could do that loan. I mean, what's the problem?
She's like, I already said
What's the
yes.
holdup?
I
Yeah.
know. Why aren't you getting under contract? Let's close this thing.
Anyway,
Go
you were
ahead.
gonna, you were going to ask a.
No, I mean, I think this is perfect because it is a coupled show. But I mean, you know, you mentioned real estate, and we have a lot of opportunities to help people out there. You know, there is disruption, and you guys hear me talk a lot about that probably, you know, with disruption in the industry and, you know, from a business perspective, and you see it from, you know, how you're connecting with people that are interested to buy and sell. How does all this, like technology and all these companies that are coming in to the real estate space, how is that going to impact you feel your buyers and your sellers? And how are you using it to your advantage?
Well, I mean, I know there's a lot of realtors who probably get nervous about, you know, door and open door. I assume that's kind of what
well,
you
I mean,
meant
just
there, or
stuff like-
whatever.
yeah, whatever, yeah.
That does not intimidate us. We're definitely not. The biggest person I'm in competition with every day is myself. And
love that.
So I
Yep.
am not.
Awesome.
There
Yep.
are, and I tell people, especially rookies, I lead a group
Mm-hmm.
of rookies the first Wednesday of every month. And one of the things I say, like, if you got in an airplane and you flew over Dallas right now and you looked out, you can see how many houses are here. So I know there's a lot of realtors, but if you look at that, that should excite you and encourage you that there's plenty of houses for you. Pick your own neighborhood, do whatever, but there's enough houses for all of us. We don't need to be worried about them. But then bringing it back to like Open Door and all of those people, we know if you go with Open Door versus us, the quality of service is going to be different. What did I say I'm about? I'm about relationships and making it work for these people so they get their goals. Whereas Open Door is more of a turn and burn or whatever
Transaction.
these,
Right.
you know, $3,000. There's a certain
Yep.
company out there that does it for $3,000.
Name the company, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know who it is? And it's like, I'm not going to be nervous about that because I know that our clients are getting top service. I know that we're working behind the scenes every day. We don't put a listing on the market and let it sit there. We're working behind the scenes. We're making phone calls, reverse prospecting, calling other agents saying, hey, you have a client that matches this listing. Let's get them together. We're doing open houses. We're doing Facebook ads or whatever it is, but we're constantly working, not just sitting back and trying to let the house sell itself. Because especially in this market, and I know
You're
one of your
seeing-
questions was
yeah.
about the shift. Yeah, we're seeing, you know, last year we had a ton of buyers. This year we have a ton of sellers. We still have some buyers, but especially right now, I think with the interest rates maybe rising,
yep.
and we have a huge, I mean, in the area we sell, which is mostly that Denton, although we sell all over the Denton County, we've got almost 4 months worth of inventory.
Yep, which is
That's a lot.
that's getting better, right? Because
Yeah.
we were down 2.8 months worth of inventory, and that is not a balanced or healthy
Sure.
market.
So now, you know, we see houses are taking a little bit longer to sell, which is, it's been kind of, I mean, it really obviously depends on pricing and if you
Sure.
priced according to value, but
So let's talk about that because we see some things and conversations out there, and I've done a zone, BobMortgage zone on this about depreciation and what, you know, mainstream media says, oh, we're seeing depreciation. And I'm like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
I don't think, honestly, especially in this market, we don't see
Sure.
depreciation. We just see a reset in the seller's minds of what the price expectation
Sure.
should be. So
Absolutely.
if the house was really valued at 300. They were trying to price it at 325
Yes.
because there was only 2.8 months worth of inventory. Buyers were willing to pay that extra
Absolutely.
25 grand,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Now, they don't have it. It's 4 months of inventory. They're having to bring that price down
Right.
to match market value. That's not depreciation. That's just resetting expectations of price.
Right, and also setting expectations with the sellers, because that's what we tell them. Look, I'm showing you all the numbers, and I say this at every listing appointment. I could walk in and tell you your house is the best one I've ever seen. Let's list it for $1 million, but that's not going to sell your house, and it doesn't do either of us a favor. So this is what the market says your house is worth. This is what all these houses have sold for. How does your house compare to this? Let's price it accordingly, or in a couple weeks we're going to be dropping price. It doesn't mean we're always 100% accurate, but we are pretty conservative. We like to stay very much with whatever the comps are, and I think that helps with days on the market. But we are seeing a little bit longer days on market. I mean, that is just the reality.
And I
of it.
get the sellers understand. I mean, I've never, if I've ever sold a home, I always thought it was worth more than whatever sold it for.
Sure.
Right, because it's my house, right? I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's worth so much more.
I'm sure you've worked with people like us.
All the time, they're
All the
like, my
time.
house is gorgeous, and they've got like terracotta orange on the floor with a
Right.
black countertop.
Right,
and I'm
exactly.
going, no, I'm just kidding. If you have that, I still love you.
No judgment.
Well, but I mean,
You know who you are.
we get it, and so the numbers, and that's why using people like yourself who really get into the numbers and getting into comps and helping somebody that may be more emotional about that
Right.
property understand. Look, I get the emotion, but the reality is,
Right.
being real, not pessimistic. The reality is, all the homes are selling at this price that are comparable to yours,
Sure. Yes.
right? And that's what you guys are bringing.
And I always tell them, if you want to sell this house, you need to think like a buyer. And if you were the buyer, I try and say, remove yourself from the situation for a minute. If you were purchasing this house again today, and this is all the other houses in your neighborhood that are for sale, which one are you going to choose? This one over here has an extra garage, and it may have 100 square feet less, but it's got a pool, or it has this and that, and the price is like this. So I always want them to think, and I do that with my buyers too. I want you to think like a seller. If you're going to put this offer in that's this crappy, think
Right.
about how you would feel. And some of them, they're selling their house. Think about how you would feel if someone did this to you. They're like,
Wow.
well, let's go 30 under because they've been on the market. Yes, your house was too, and we just dropped the price. How do you feel when you get that offer? So trying to help them see it from someone else's side.
Feel.
Yeah, like
Put yourself
if
in their
you
shoes.
could,
Right.
yeah, if you were out there looking for a house today, would you rebuy your house?
That's
a great question.
That's really
All right, yeah.
awesome. I've not ever heard anyone actually say that. That's awesome.
Well, I just made it up. No, I'm just
Girl, you're good on the fly.
mean, you have to. That's the way that my mind thinks, though, is to think of the other person's side, and that's how we do negotiations as well. What is it that they're after? What's the end goal? How can we get there together? But ultimately, help the sellers to think like a buyer, and help your buyers to think like a seller.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
I mean, the in every list that we probably look at online right now, we'd see that DFW is pretty much on every list of best places.
Absolutely, Frisco
Right.
is number one.
That's right.
Right.
Time
So-
magazine, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what is that? I mean, what do you feel that from a real estate, what you guys are seeing and talking to
Yeah,
people that are
why is
relocating
that?
in, why do you feel that is?
Well, I mean, I can tell you from a personal reason, and
Yeah.
then I guess real estate. I mean, personally, I've only lived in 2 different states, but I can tell you that Dallas, the Metroplex as a whole, we have everything to offer. I mean, there's so much fun stuff to go and do with families. I used to look forward to coming here because I'm like, oh, I get to go to this restaurant, or I get to go, even walking around the mall was a huge thing to me. And
Right.
for those of us who are familiar with the area, it's just the norm.
Yeah.
But when you come from other places of the country or other cities, you don't realize how much is here. So there's tons of things for families to do. I fly. You can do the, the
Oh yeah.
which
yeah.
my shirt kind of looks like I don't know,
Right,
flying
right,
school or
exactly.
something. But you can do that right here in Frisco.
Yeah.
You can do ice skating, or you can do go-karting. What else, babe? What do we do?
Well, you got 2 great
We're gonna get him
airports to get
talking.
anywhere in the world you want to get to,
Absolutely.
Because,
right?
what we lack for natural resources, no mountains or beach or anything like
Right.
that, we make up everywhere else. I
Yeah,
feel
we've
like.
got the Cowboys.
food alone, I
We've
think.
got
Right.
hey, we have Dr. Pepper Keurig, which Dr. Pepper and coffee, that's 2 of our biggest things. So shout out to my people, Candace Tan, that was for you. We have so many corporations, so that's obviously the business side.
Yeah.
Everyone comes in, and I grew up in Plano, so I was used to seeing this huge boom. We moved to Plano, I guess, in '91, built a house here, and there was nothing.
Right.
Legacy
I don't
was
even know
like,
if the tollway was out there at that point.
It
It wasn't,
wasn't.
right? It was
We
just
were-
still farms. And,
yeah, we were at Legacy and Independence, and I mean, Frisco was where you went for parties, in the
Right.
fields.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, I tell the story all the time. Homecoming, I think I was like 16. My mom made me drive the Volvo, because, or maybe it was Sadie Hawkins, something like that. But she made me drive her Volvo because it was safe.
Right.
And then she gave me her phone, her cell phone, which was a brick. And a collar because we were
Had a
going
bag.
to La Hacienda.
Yeah.
La
Oh,
Hacienda,
yeah.
people.
La
Because that
Hacienda
was all
Ranch,
that was in
yeah.
Frisco
That was all that
at the
was out
time.
there.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like we were going out to the country. And now everything is here.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, that can be overwhelming. It's a little hard to live that balanced lifestyle of do we need versus want. And then also the opposite of taking your kids and showing them the reality of the rest of the world.
Right.
But is this a fun place to live? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are the schools good? Yes, for sure. That's why people come here. They want to bring their kids. This is a great place to raise them. So, I mean, and I think I am not a sporty person. Everybody on there already knows that. I hate sports. But I think we have 7 professional teams right
Yeah,
here, like
it's
in the
insane.
Frisco area. So we've got business, we've got sports, we have like actual activities. You can go out on Lake Louisville and you can paddleboard, kayak, swim on the beach. You can ride in a boat, like
Sounds like you know your market.
just a
Yeah,
little bit.
just
But I
a
also
little
live
bit.
here, so
Yeah.
this is
Right.
where we choose to. I mean, we want to be here.
Yeah.
This
Your
where we
heart
wanna
is
live.
here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what is some advice you would give to a seller if they're you know thinking about putting their home on the market right now, in pricing it, choosing a real estate agent? I mean, what's some good advice that you could give?
Good
to
advice
the
in
audience?
choosing a real estate is call me.
Okay.
Just kidding.
And what number would they call?
972-439-0301.
Well, that camera knows that one. You gotta.
Which one is it though? There's 3
Hey,
there.
there's like 20.
that one over there?
972-439-0301. Call me. You guys are just getting the back of my head there.
Oh no, it's good
How's-
angles.
How does the back look? Do I
Yeah.
have some-
Well, I tell you, you're having a great hair day, I said.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Yes.
What would I say to a seller?
Yeah.
If you are a motivated seller, if you have a real reason to move, not just I want to test the market, you say that and I'm out the door. But if you really have a reason, what is your motivation? If they want to move for a specific reason, then whatever time it is in the market, let's go for it. Let's do it. We have a client, some people that they'll know who they are, which we love you guys. They wanted to sell their house in Dallas, and another agent came to them. They had her come out first. I won't hate on you for that, but it just mattered who they had last.
Sure.
They had her come out, and she looked at the house, and she was like, well, it's, you know, the end of summer, selling season is, you know, you should be selling your house. Why don't we wait until the spring? Which I didn't know this until we were closing last week. They told me this, but when I went in, I saw their house, I was excited, and I said, let's do this. If you want to sell, you want to move, because their motivation was being closer to grandkids.
Gotcha.
You want that? Let's
Yep.
do it. We've got this. So we go in, we sold the house in, I don't know, like 6 days, 11 days, I don't know,
Wow.
something very fast, and they got top dollar. The neighbor across the street had just sold, I don't know, a couple months before, and they got more than them. And,
Right.
you know, it doesn't matter what the time of year is if we price it right.
Sure.
You know, we're not going to be ridiculous and price way up here. If you really want the buyers, you want to get them in the first 2 weeks.
Yep.
We don't want to miss out on that. Hey, this is a fresh new listing, so we want to price it right first. And like I said, I'm pretty conservative with my pricing. If I see, you know, there are some agents who will walk into a house and someone says, okay, but Angela, I want, you know, $450,000 for my house. If that's not what the market says, you know, I have some sellers right now, we're closing tomorrow, and they paid more for their house than what we're selling it for. But the problem is they just bought it, and they bought it in a brand new neighborhood.
Right.
And so they overpaid at the time.
Competing against other new builds.
Absolutely,
and-
they
yep.
just don't have the equity yet. Fortunately for them, they don't owe money at the table. But I do see that sometimes where people owe money, and it's sad because they haven't been in the house long enough to earn that equity.
Right.
But as long as we price it accordingly, it will sell quickly. And that house did, where other houses in the neighborhood that are large have taken longer because they have a realtor that walks in and says, I'll price it wherever you want it because I just want my sign in the yard. But
Yeah,
for me,
right.
if I can't sell it, I don't want my sign in the yard.
Well, right. You're
Yeah.
also
It has to
you're-
appraise as well, so you're
Yeah.
just shooting yourself in the foot
Yeah, and you're-
by overreaching when the comps aren't there. So.
Sure.
and
Yeah,
wasting
that little
everybody's time.
appraisal thing that I have to kind of do.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then Bob's people are going,
Yeah.
why do you
Why is the price this way?
Why is the price there? It's
so
only
that's
priced for
right.
400.
We do tell people that all the time is, look, even if we could get this, it has to appraise, and there's no house in the neighborhood that has sold for this, you know. We may try and get a little bit higher, like if they say I want $5,000 more than what I said, we may try it, but if it doesn't sell in the first 2 weeks, let's knock that price down. Let's get it where it's supposed to be. But unless they're within reason, I don't want to work with people who have, this
Right.
crazy expectation, because I will fail them as far as they're concerned. They'll be miserable. They'll tell other people, and then their house doesn't sell. It doesn't help any of us. So I spend all the money that, we spend a lot of money
And
marketing
people, that
houses.
is something people don't realize. I think sometimes people think, okay, they're just going to put it in the MLS and people are looking, but they don't realize the expense that you guys are risking if it doesn't
Right.
sell. I mean,
And what they should know is that if they're hiring someone that is, let's say, a flat fee or whatever, they may not be providing the same service. Because if it's going to cost me money to sell your house, then how am I a good business person, right? So I should be, if I'm asking you to pay me a full commission, right? That's what I would expect. There's a reason, and I'm going to be doing open houses. And I've had clients before that are like, "What should I buy for the open house? What kind of food?" I'm like, "No, honey, I got this.
Yeah.
We take care of this. We take care of paying the photographer." And they say like, "Oh, do I need to write a check?" No, this is part of what we do for you. We've had the Kona ice truck out to some of our open houses. And that's expensive, but that's part of what we offer for them, because in that particular neighborhood, there's a lot of families. It was hot. We wanted kids to go to the ice, the snow cone
Well,
ride.
it's about bringing attention,
Sure.
right, to that
Sure.
to that listing, and
And
we
the
we talk about
experience
that
for
all
the
the time.
seller.
You can't do anything in business without the attention of your audience,
Sure.
right? So you're creating this attention for that audience for that home, right? And that's what's helping that home get sold that quickly.
Right.
Is based on whatever market. So are you guys, like Kona Ice Trucks, you use Facebook ads to promote homes, anything else that you guys, just from a marketing perspective, that you guys look at to kind of help, further that listing along so it sells quicker at a higher price?
I would say one of the things that we do that is not, it's a no-brainer to me, but I don't think that enough agents do it, is the reverse prospecting that I was talking about earlier. There's only so much you can push on Facebook and all
Sure.
these other places. Like we're going to do that.
Yep.
We're going to do the open houses. We're going to
Yep.
do all of these different things. If it takes bringing in a Kona ice truck, great. We've even done in one neighborhood where we had 3 houses, with an open house where they did a tour and they got
Yeah.
prizes for this. We have those kind of things, but sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
Reverse prospecting.
The reverse, see, that's why he's
Get in the game.
The reverse prospecting is one of the simplest tools, and it blows my mind when another agent is like, "How do you know I have a client that matches this?" Or like, "Where did you get my number?" Or "How do you find this?" If I say, "Hey, you have a client, their reference number is 7532 whatever, that has a heart on my listing." How do you know that? Well, that's in the MLS, and I don't think a lot of people know that are agents. I wish more of them did, but it's right there. You can click reverse prospect, and then I can see a list of other agents who have clients that match my listing. I can see if they have a heart or a light bulb, and we are calling. I was personally doing all of that myself every day, emails, calls, and we have recently brought on an assistant. Shout out to Catherine. And she is killing it. Catherine, if you can hear us, we love you. She is killing it. She's on the phone. She's doing text messages, calling other agents saying, "Hey, you still haven't brought your client. We'd love for them to see this house," telling them if we have
That's
open houses.
phenomenal.
You guys, that's some great
That is
advice. And it comes from
Great advice.
well, and your willingness to give. You just gave a big nugget to. I know you say you compete up here, which is beautiful because that's where we compete, right? That's why I don't see competition. So you're willing to give that to agents that are out there listening,
Sure.
right? That's awesome.
They should be doing it.
They should be,
free.
but some people will keep that to themselves.
Well,
And I appreciate you sharing
Yeah.
that for the audience, them that are watching, and of course the sellers too, to know what you guys do.
Yeah, it goes back to that mindset where she talked about looking out the window of the plane and seeing the amount of homes that are here. And I don't think either of us have ever had this competition with other agents where there's that standoff. There's a lot of agents out there that are
Yep.
very, very harsh towards other agents, and
Yep.
I think there's just so much opportunity out there. None of that is needed.
I
And-
talk about what keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
It's never anything that's fear based or something I'm worried about. It's what keeps me up is opportunity,
Yeah.
because there's so much of it out there that I just want to figure out how to take it all. I'm always thinking about that part of it, not
Looking forward.
yeah,
instead of-
not in the rearview mirror, not anything
We're
behind
the same
me.
with you. We don't. We don't consider. We are our competition. And I think that's where you should live.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we-
so vetting a buyer's agent or a lender. So throw some nuggets out there for the peeps that you feel that a buyer that's going to be choosing an agent, they need to be vetting, asking, right?
Sure.
Of let's go agent first and lender second.
A buyer, I mean, gosh, I feel like the buyer is so much easier.
Okay.
Buyers, I think that is a great opportunity for new agents. So any newbies out there, any of the rookies, it's so easy. And I feel like you really should work with buyers in the beginning because that's where you learn what buyers are looking for, and that's what helps you on the selling side. That's what helped me to learn how to sell a house, is I knew what the buyers were looking for. But as far as a buyer, I would think, again, when I say someone else's perspective, what do I want? Look for the type of person. If I was buying a house right now, I'd want someone that I can relate to, someone that is not going to be salesy and pushy at me. So I think the biggest thing is sit down and have a one-on-one with them and see if your personalities click. Because as a buyer, you're not paying for the realtor. The seller is. So it's a lot easier on that side. You're not as invested as maybe the seller where they're like, oh my gosh, I have to pay 6%. You know, a buyer, it's free for them. They should have a realtor working for them. If not, then they're missing out on that service.
Even if they're thinking about building, because you do want that representation.
Oh yeah,
we sell a lot of brand new homes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think I guess you want to know. Right? I guess for me, I would want someone that I click well with and someone that really knows the area.
And knows how to ask questions, because if you just say, just like a listing agent says, oh, I just want to get the listing, what do you want me to sell it for? I want it my sign in the yard. If you're a buyer looking for an agent, all they want to do is get you in the car to go show you homes, they're going to do you a disservice, right? Because if they're not asking you questions like, where do you want the master bedroom, up or down? They really specific type stuff, then they're going to show you 50 homes that don't even match the criteria that you want anyway.
So fundamental to me that I thought that was an unspoken. Yes, obviously you need to sit down and find out what they're looking for. When I first started, I had clients, she wanted to look at everything across the Metroplex.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, we need to rein this in because I can't drive all over the place. What are you looking for? And find out, just the same as with the seller, you got to find the motivation. What's your motivation? What are you looking for? And then I will say, when helping buyers, it is very important that you are working in your area that you know best. I do help buyers out in other areas, and I will research it as much as possible. But if you call me, let's say it's a Realtor.com lead, and they're a buyer, and they say, I'm interested in this house on Perosa. Well, I already know, that's ringing a bell with me. I don't have to get an MLS and look. I already know what neighborhood that's in.
Sure.
At Winsong Ranch. But anyways, I'm like, I feel so much more comfortable, and I am in my zone because I can tell you where to go to the grocery store. I can tell you the gas stations. I can tell you which school this feeds to. My kids may even go to that school. So when I'm selling in this area, it's like when you ask me about Frisco. I can tell you 150 things about Frisco as to why it's the best place. But if you start asking me why should I live in, Colleyville, well, I don't know, but I can find out.
Yeah.
I don't know where you go to the gas station there. I don't know what the schools are like, but I can tell you over here. So really, you need to know your area.
Okay, strategy. You deal in the strategy and the business side of this.
Absolutely.
You need to get her doing video all the time about.
It's coming.
You know so much, and you're just rattling these things off. You need to be the mayor, the champion of that area, and produce so much content that. And I know it's personal, and we talk a little bit about that because we had a conversation about how Facebook and is it really personal, is it really business? And unfortunately, it's all business. Yeah. And if you want a personal page, then go create a side page that nobody knows about and just invite personal friends there, right? Because all of this is about taking you talk about servant leadership and wanting to help more people. Your wealth of knowledge, you got to go get it out there and help more people by getting this content. Right, putting it out on video.
Yeah,
right?
that is definitely the way that we're moving. We're getting ready to start doing more of the video. It's that hard, when you're a single agent on your own, it's like I'm doing everything I can just to survive. Right. I didn't have a transaction coordinator. I didn't have any kind of assistant. Just going. Obviously he was doing all the business, like the accounting and stuff. But now that he's on, he's helping to put those systems and processes. And if we can get a team with us, then we'll have more time to do some of these,
Good.
Right.
all of the video and all of those other.
Yeah, because you're
kind of
really a
experience.
natural, you know, nothing against you, you know.
This is everyday
Well,
life.
see,
this
this
is
is
not.
what-
Tim is not
here's
nervous
what
right
you
now.
have to
He
do.
just doesn't talk.
Yeah.
Tim, here's what you
Hey,
have to
hey,
do.
I found out yesterday I was going to be on the show.
Right.
do
Okay.
exactly what I do. I just toss up the question and let her go.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
I mean-
awesome. You know, not everyone is an easy interview either, you know, and so I think that, and you are a wealth of knowledge, and I
Well,
think
when
you should get
when I was a kid, one of my best friends and her mom bought me a T-shirt that said, "Help! I'm talking and I can't shut up." I didn't think it was funny then, but now I'm like, okay, it's true. But
Tim, here's all you
I
need to
get
do
it.
is just do this the whole day.
Yeah.
Just film her.
Just get the
Right.
big,
Just go live,
professional
film you.
camera, and we'll just
Yeah.
follow
Put it
you
in.
around.
Hey, bring it. I'll edit it for you. I
with
mean,
the,
you know.
with the no makeup and the hair looking.
And that's
crazy.
life, and that's where people connect, and you know, it's like, that's when we brought
Do y'all
Brandon
want to
in.
see me with no makeup?
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? Because most of the time they're in no makeup, you know. And it's like that's why we brought Brandon in. I was telling you guys earlier is like, you know, we live in the content. You guys, what you do every day. Just think of all the conversations you're having on the phone, and you know, just with your rookies and all the meetings.
Yeah. I mean,
It's all
and-
content.
right. And you know, you want to show those times when your hair's messed up, or I mean, because look, this is. I mean, a lot of what we do isn't sexy, right? I mean, it's a lot of hard work, and that's what connects with people. I had
you're right.
I had a person in there the other day who was like, you know, I love some of there's certain videos that I do that are a little more raw, and they're showing a little bit more of behind the scene type stuff, and they're like, I really like that because that to me tells me how real you really are versus some of the other things that we do.
Sure.
And so your audience likes
Or
to
if
see
you
different
follow a
things.
realtor around 24/7 for a day, then you'll be like, that's why they make what they make.
Right.
Oh, okay. I mean, getting a house under contract, that's easy peasy. That's
Oh,
the easy
yeah.
part. Is the contract to close. That's where the realtors make their money. And if you've never noticed that before, if you don't know that that's true, just get into a situation where, you know, XYZ happens, or let's say there's a problem with the mortgage is happening. You got to figure out all these things. It's the juggling. It's the getting everything to the finish line part. That's where we earn.
So what would you do to advise a buyer to vet a lender? So what's important to, in your mind, what would be important to you to, you know, say, hey, you know, this is the things that you probably need to
Right.
ask or what you need to look for in
So
choosing a
for
lender?
us, there's a couple things. Honestly, and you guys already know, my mom is a lender as well. So
Yep.
we work with her occasionally. We have a friend, Marcus Rush, that's a lender.
Uh-huh.
You
Yep.
guys are
Yep.
incredible.
Yep.
What I'm listening for when they're talking about, when I always say, you know, have you been pre-qualified?
Yep.
That's one of our first things in the conversation. And if it's a no, it's what are they looking for? Certain, just like realtors, we're really good at certain areas. I think lenders have different things that they're really great at.
Mhm.
Maybe they have been in the business for 20 years,
Mhm.
and you know, you're a very solid. We feel confident that we can hand someone off to you,
Sure.
right? Someone may be very good with first-time buyers, and they're there to hold hands and walk them through, and they've got that. My mom's personality. If you're watching, Mom,
Love you,
this is the
Mom.
only time I'm ever going to say this, but my mom's personality and mine are very similar. I'm
Right.
very much like her. She will spend way too much time on the phone talking to a client. So if they're a first-time buyer, I know she's going to take care of them in that respect. There are clients that maybe they've got a very complicated situation and we have no clue if we can get this. We're going to send them to somebody that, hey, they've done this a million times
Yep.
and they're going to find a way. They know all of the things, right? You guys know all the things. You're also very good at advertising, by the way. But as if
Really?
Facebook didn't know
BobMortgage,
that.
what?
Yeah.
You didn't know that. It's all over the place. But I think that's the most important piece is figuring out who would work best for them. And then the other thing I tell them is talk to all of these people. I usually give, because I do not like to set myself up for you told us to work with this person. So I always give 3 references. Hey, if you don't have a lender, call these 3 people, talk to them, see what they can do for you, see what rates they can get, and make sure you've got everything clear, because there are certain mortgage companies that are kind of, we'll just say they'll tell people what they want to hear
Sure.
in the front so that they can
Just
get
get them in the door.
yeah.
Yep.
And they'll say, oh yeah, your rate is down here, but really they're having them buy points and they don't realize how much they're actually spending. Or, sorry to my builder friends out there, I love my builders, but if we take a new buyer and the builder's like, oh, we'll give you $10,000 if you use our lender. I always tell them, call and talk to these lenders and find out, take whatever this estimate is he's
Sure.
giving you and show it so that they can see dollar
all
for dollar,
transparency,
can they
right.
help you? Because
Yeah.
a lot of times, just going with the builder's lender, it may give you that extra money up front, but it's going to cost you more in the end.
100%.
So we
And I
always
appreciate
want
that
them
comment.
to call. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we want them to call. Now, I've got lenders who will say, you know, I can't compete with that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good one. Go ahead and go with that. But I would rather that my buyer talk to all three of these people and see, who do you fit with? Who do you feel like is going to give you the best service? Who's giving you that
Well,
rate?
and it's important when you do that you have the utmost confidence and trust in the three that you're handing out, because unfortunately what I've seen in our industry is if the agent like has one really good one and they have a couple of two subpar ones and they say call all three, the two that are subpar will professionally confuse the buyer enough to where the buyer does not have a good experience because they don't want to win, or they want to win the deal so bad
Sure.
that they're not willing to say, hey, this is a good deal, you need to go with that one. And unfortunately that happens, like a listing agent saying, I'll price it wherever you want me to,
Sure,
to price it to
absolutely.
get the deal. And so it's really important to have, if you're going to refer out one, two or three people, that you have that utmost confidence in that. If I were to get a deal and look
Right.
at it, that I'd say, you know what? Hey, based on what you have and the conversations I'm having, hey, you got a great deal. Go
Well,
there,
and
right?
I think that's why for us, we really do vet the partners that we
Yep,
work with.
that's
I
good.
have got, my phone rings off the hook all
Oh
day
my
long.
gosh, she
I
vetted
can
me.
imagine.
She
of
vetted
different
me.
lenders calling and saying, can we take you to lunch? And I'm like, no,
No.
I am not hungry. I mean, I'm starving, but I've got my own meal. Thank you. I don't have time for this. Or,
Yeah.
hey, I'm sure you get this all the time, but I want no. And
Right.
the first thing out of the gate I tell them is, I'm sorry, but my mother is a lender. And most of them won't ever hear another word from me. But when someone comes at it from a relationship and builds that, which is what you guys are good at, that's when we start to say, oh, or, you know, sometimes your client already has a lender. And if those people have worked really hard and they've proven that they're amazing, why would I give my business to anyone other than my mother unless I think this person is going to help the client in a different way than
Yeah.
she does? Because, yes, she's my mother, but it has to be business as well. So I know that she's got clients. She doesn't send everyone to me. She sends them to whoever she thinks,
Sure.
you know, is going to be good for the client. So like with you guys, you came at it from a different way to where we felt confident, right? So it wasn't just another person. It was a relationship, and then we had the confidence.
Well, and then I appreciate you saying that, because it is stuff that we've worked on for many, many years. And when we started out in the business, it was transaction. I needed to come to you because I needed business. Right now,
So we were
it's-
slinging donuts at the
Yeah.
office meeting. Big
yeah,
time,
Right.
you
and
know?
now it's completely
But
different.
y'all been in it so long, you've gained that.
Well,
And
we've
you
also
know-
gained some wisdom in this, and it is understanding value and really giving more of that out.
Yeah, sure.
And knowing if you're committed to the long game. We've been in it 22 years, we'll be in another 22 years.
Sure.
I got plenty of time for people to choose to use me or not use me.
Right.
And so I can't get caught up in if you're referring your mom or you're referring Marcus, which I'm sure your mom's great. I know Marcus is great, right? I can't get caught up in that. All I can get caught up in is building a relationship and knowing what we do will ultimately win out in the long run.
Sure.
But I can't worry about what you choose or don't choose.
Right.
And so that's when that light bulb came on many, many, many years ago. It's like,
Experience.
look, man, it's process, not outcome.
Sure.
Focus on what we do best, and the rest will take care of itself.
That's right. And, you know, this is our family business, kind of like this
Yeah.
is your family business. And so you just approach things differently. It's not a deal. It's not a
Right.
donuts at the office meeting kind of thing. It is
Right.
a relationship, because when you get to, you know, we're older than you guys, but our age, and that's really what matters in
God,
life.
we are older than everybody we
I
talk
know.
to.
But in life and in business, it is that connection, because at the end of the day, that's really, well, you know, it's important.
And we do not work with partners that we don't have that connection with.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of people who come out of the
Right.
woodwork. So when we refer our clients, we want to feel confident. We want to feel like if we've recommended this person, they're going to take care of you.
Good.
Right.
Like, what? They couldn't get the deal done? It can't be done. No.
Right.
So that's why we choose our partners very
Yeah.
carefully.
And they're an extension of you, whoever you're
Extension of
your brand.
selection, a
Absolutely.
title, it's all an extension of you. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
So you want to grow your team.
Yeah.
Okay, that's important to you. So you're looking for some agents.
Yes.
We will be, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
See me? I'm like, yes.
We
come
will
on,
be.
let's
We
go.
will be, yes.
That
And
was such
he,
the answer.
The brakes on for a second.
yes, he's right. So our coach, we're going through a very strategic training program that's teaching us how to grow the team the right way,
okay.
so that we're not banging our heads against a wall and spending thousands and thousands of dollars with the wrong agent and
Yep.
wasting time.
Right.
So we're both going through the process, but he's got his notebook.
Yeah.
Takes all of the notes, and we're going to be hiring. So if you
Good.
want to be on the Taylor Estates group, team.
I'm sure they'll be lining up. I
Good.
would imagine.
Yeah,
If they're
hope-
smart, they would be.
Look, and this is why we do these things. Hopefully, putting this out there, I know it's on yours, but these other cameras, hopefully by us putting this out there,
Yeah, with
helps your
thousands
brand.
of agents between.
yeah, it helps your brand, it helps you grow, and, hopefully in a couple of months, we'll get an email back that says, hey, thanks so much, your show got us connected with somebody, and
Yeah,
either
that's
helped
what
you
it's
get a
all about.
listing or a buyer or even an agent. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
having
we
me.
Oh my
enjoyed
gosh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
This
just
is
talked
fun.
about
I know. And that's what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
So,
Well, guys,
yeah.
I do appreciate you giving us your eyes and your ears today. Hopefully this show rocked it and we exceeded expectations. So if you liked it, thumbs up, maybe some comments.
A share.
Yeah, if not, I get it. Tell me we sucked and we'll do better. We'll do better next time. I know we didn't because she did all the talking. They did.
That's
and,
probably what most people think, and every conversation I do most of the talking.
Well, you dropped
got a
some great
lot of
nuggets.
great things to
right.
say.
So I know there's a lot of
You're
value.
interesting.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of value. So take care, guys. Have an awesome day, and even more importantly, make somebody's day even better.